5, 4, 3, 7, 2, 1. Oh,
1. Hey guys, welcome.
Are we rolling?
To the Legends of Tomorrow after show. John's just catching up with us. He's still back in the past in 1975. It's where he got this wonderful jukebox from. Guys, what an incredible pilot. It was everything that we asked for. And guys, I'm here with you today in lovely Los Angeles, California, with my man John. John, say what's up to everybody.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jon Lee Brody here with my boy Jack Hind, my British friend who sounds so much smarter than me because he's British. Really
but he is a lot smarter than me, so don't be fooled, guys. Guys, we want to kick things off. We're just giving a few shout-outs. Of course, our most important one is Lance and the DC Legends of Tomorrow after show group, the Legends family. Guys, don't forget to join it. We're building a little community between all three of the shows, including Flash, Arrow, and now DC Legends of Tomorrow, which is finally premiered. Oh, excitement over. Let's chill that one out. Guys, don't forget to join Lance's actual discussion group as well, which is now one of the biggest, not only for Flash and Arrow, but also for DC Legends, and it just premiered tonight, and it's already sitting at almost 6,000 followers. Guys, if you want to follow that, it's DC Legends of Tomorrow, discussing the TV show. Find them both on Facebook. You can find us, you can find theirs, and we'll have links in the YouTube section below. Right. Let's go.
Let's start this by beginning.
Let's crack into this bad boy, okay? So we're going to start off with everything. No, I'm just kidding with you. Guys, this was a real establishment, which is what John and I were noticing at the beginning. The first 15 minutes pretty much set the scene. Showed us who we're talking to, who we're going to be with, what's going to be happening. And that opening scene.
Pretty awesome. Very, very Terminator-esque. You know, we're starting in the future. Also, my DC fans out there, 2166. So, Rip Hunter, they have this whole storyline in DC Comics. Armageddon 2001. It's around that year that's all happening. So, little Easter egg for you to start off the whole thing. So, pretty cool.
I just can't believe they opened it so deep with the killing of Jonas, which obviously we found out later in the episode turns out to be Rip Hunter's son, hence why the feud between the two. But we'll get into that later on. But how did you feel this show opening that? Because I definitely wasn't. I was expecting the big fight scene that we saw at the beginning, which obviously was great. Shout out to Armin VFX, as per always across all the shows. But to open it with him killing a son like that, killing a child and a mother like that.
I love that. As a storyteller, you got to do that. You got to set the stakes high because you know, you got to know what's at stake here. Why should we even care about this story? And right away, within the first 2-3 minutes, you get it. And so shout out to Glenn Winter, who is the director of this episode, who also goes back to the days of Smallville. I mean, I don't know if you watched, you might be too young for Smallville. I don't know, did they get Smallville in the UK?
We did have Smallville in the UK. It appeared a little bit later though, and unfortunately I just never got into it, but that is definitely one of my ones to go back to, seeing as Superman is one of my favorite superheroes.
It is, he's
so
very great.
Smallville's definitely something I need to go back and watch.
And fun fact about Glenn, sorry to interrupt you.
I was going to say, my knowledge, this is my brain. This is where I get all my knowledge. You know, you guys go to a library or you go to the internet, I just text John.
He just does. It's true.
Anything.
It doesn't matter what
superheroes
time
anymore.
It's a little weird sometimes. It's not always about comic books, but we won't talk about that right now. But anyways, fun fact about Glenn Winter, he goes back to the days of Smallville. He directed 2 of my favorite episodes of Smallville, which one of them was The Legion, which is funny enough. Legion was time travelers, and we have time travelers in this show. Also, the Justice League episode of Smallville, which was written by the very awesome Jeff Johns. So shout out to you, Jeff Johns, because you are awesome, and I have to work in Jeff Johns to the show every time I'm on the air. And how many times can I say Jeff Johns?
We could just sit here and go Jeff Johns. We'd just be gibberish, and the only words we can say are Jeff Johns, and everything would be okay.
And we have total street cred with the DC universe because it's Jeff Johns.
Totally right.
Pretty
Can
cool.
you disagree?
Pretty cool.
I don't think I could disagree.
Absolutely.
Guys, bring it into this. We saw the team. So now we've seen the team. Obviously, we've seen them in the trailers, and they all look like they were raring and great to go. But as we saw in the beginning of this, they weren't too excited. Some of them were a bit hesitant, and the way we like to say it is that they had to speak to their opposites in order to get them to come on. So we saw Atom with Arrow on the top of the roof building, and Arrow was saying, how do you know this guy? And obviously we know Arrow. I know Arrow. John knows Arrow. You guys know Arrow. Oliver isn't exactly the most I don't want to say the trustworthy person, but isn't the most trusting person. Oliver obviously hasn't had the best of life. So he's the voice of reason for Atom, who wanted to be bigger than life, didn't he? Which, get the pun, wanted to be bigger than life, the Atom. Punny.
I got it.
You got it. I'm just making sure you guys got it as well. But what other opposites did we have that had to talk to each other, John?
We had the Black Canary and now the White Canary. We have Captain Cold and Heatwave.
The Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice.
My 2 favorite characters.
The fact that Wentworth Miller is working. And can we talk about the Atom? The fact that Brandon Routh is working again and he's a superhero. I'm going to go on the record. I love Superman Returns. And I don't think he got a fair shake after that. I may be the only one, But just Brandon Routh, I'm very happy you're back in the DC universe. I think
Goes
that's
from the
very cool.
Man of Steel to the smallest man in the world, pretty much.
Hey, you know what?
If you could do it, you could do it,
As long as
right?
the check clears, you know, I'm sure
As long
that's what
as
he's
the
saying.
check clears. It's all good. How big do you think his check was for Superman Returns? Bigger than this?
Probably more than we get paid on here. I'm
Probably
sure.
more, do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm yeah, let's not talk about that now.
And Hawkgirl and Hawkman.
Yes.
We got a lot of, we obviously saw them in the crossover, in the Flash and Arrow crossover, just before mid-season. But we saw Vandal Savage, who we didn't get too much backstory about. We just got him here and now, same as Hawkgirl and Hawkman. And it was nice to understand them a little bit further, wasn't it?
Absolutely, because we did leave them on a bit of a mystery. We're kind of wondering, who are they?
When are they going to come back into it? And they're
Absolutely.
actually one of the biggest, technically one of the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for?
Power couples?
No. They're on Kim K and Kanye standards, bro.
They're the OGs of power couple,
The
basically.
literal OG
they
of
pretty
power
much are. I
couples.
mean, when you really break it down.
No, but so I was going to say they're pretty much almost the antagonists for this, alongside Rip Hunter. Obviously, Rip Hunter and Vandal Savage go way back, but the OGs are Hawkman, Hawkgirl, and Vandal Savage. That kind of brings them to and creates him as a real serious, important character in this. That's what I'm liking for at the moment.
And fun fact for my DC fans out there about Rip Hunter, he actually debuted in the Golden Age of comics the same time as Barry Allen. There was something called, I have it in my notes here, Showcase. It was Showcase number 20, where Rip Hunter was debuted. Barry Allen debuted in the Showcase series as well. He obviously went on to be the Flash and be very popular. Rip Hunter's not so much, but he's coming back, so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that, and he's British,
About the which
is pretty cool. He's
Devil,
British.
Yes.
He's British. Which is
I'm
pretty cool.
so happy he's British. And where's he from? East London. Repping East London. You
This
know
guy
that.
here.
You know also who's from London? Franz Jarmer, the guy who plays Jack Jefferson, who is also from the United Kingdom.
And Benedict Cumberbatch,
And Benedict-
who
yeah,
has
but-
nothing to do with anything, but
You just love Benedict Cumberbatch.
you know what? He's pretty awesome. I
That's
gotta
fair
say.
enough. That's fair enough. No, but I'm really excited to see the British people coming into these American TV shows. I hope the Americans like them and enjoy the diversity that we share between the few of us. But we are going to go back to the good old days. But before we go back to the good old days like they did in the episode today, we're going to stay here because we have Skype in 2016. And guys,
Yeah.
we actually, for our first show, we have one of the admins for one of the Facebook groups that I was talking to you about earlier, Arnold, joining us on Skype today. So guys, welcome Arnold for us. Who's going to chat
Arnold.
with us for Arnold!
Arnold,
Hey,
you're fantastic.
Arnold!
Hey Arnold, I love that cartoon. Oh, he's never heard that before.
He can't hear us. Can you hear us, Arnold?
Arnold, can you hear us? Okay. We see you.
I wish we
Where-
could have heard him, but unfortunately we can't hear Arnold right now. So whilst we're talking about the good old days, they're going to make sure we can hear him real quick. Right, going back to 75.
So, fun fact about 1975.
That is a plethora of fun facts, by the way. Just a fountain of fun
I
facts.
can finally share this knowledge in a forum that makes sense instead of just talking about it in pubs and stuff like that, which I would never
Hey,
do.
how's it going?
Oh, we got
Arnold is here. Okay.
Hey,
Here we go.
Arnold.
Hey, Arnold. I love that cartoon. Hey, you never heard that before, have you?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can hear
sir,
you
we
loud
can
and clear,
hear you.
man.
How did you find this
I
episode,
can hear
Arnold?
you just fine.
How did you find it? What was your who was your favourite character this episode? Still can't.
Okay, all right. We're still, and
hello.
we're back.
Arnold.
Right. Arnold
We're going to
is-
have to try this Skype thing sometime next week, because unfortunately it doesn't seem to be working too well with Arnold right now. If he joins us, he's going to join us and we're going to have a third view on the group. But until he can join us, we are going to go back to 75 and we're going to carry on with what
Yes.
John was just saying, the plethora of facts.
Yes, 1975 was the year that the Wonder Woman TV show debuted with the lovely Linda Carter, who is always going to be Wonder Woman to me, although I think Gal Gadot is going to do a fantastic
Gal
job.
Gadot's going to do an incredible job.
She's going to kill that whole thing. Going back, even before they go to 1975, they get on a ship called the Wave Rider. Now,
Here we go.
the Wave Rider was actually a superhero, which was actually a man that teamed up with Rip Hunter and traveled through time. The name of the ship is WR-2055, which is also the year that they're doing the whole Armageddon 2001 limited run storyline in DC. So nice little Easter egg, nice little shout out to Wave Rider. I think that's pretty cool. And I don't know if we're going to see the actual Wave Rider. Maybe that's a backstory that he was killed.
That'd be
And-
nice to hear. Maybe he's
Yeah.
part of the time council that they're talking about. Maybe
Yes.
Wave Rider could be part of the time council.
And that's also cool, the Time Master thing,
Yeah.
because Rip Hunter and Wave Rider were part of what was called the Linear Men in the comics. So I think that's their sort of tribute to that, maybe.
You think that would be putting them in because they're riding together constantly?
Because remember later in the episodes he calls it linear. He says the word linear.
Yes, you're right. It does stay linear, and he's what is he? He's a master of chronological. Like consequences. He obviously knows that no matter what you change in the past, he will know the consequences in keeping everything miserable.
Yes.
But talking about the past, when we did go back to 75, the reason we went back to 75 was for Dr. Broadman, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Dr. Broadman, which I'm going to go straight out there, turns out to be Shaira's son. Anyone see that one coming? We were sitting there, we thought it was going to be wife, maybe girlfriend, maybe just somebody that they teamed up with. But no, it was the
You know what I love about
family.
that? Is right before that happens is, you know, those two teenagers that get killed by, he says, whoa, look at that Darth Vader get up. He says, look at that Darth Vader get up. And then Hawk Girl has this whole Darth Vader moment, like, I'm your mother. It's like, whoa, okay. It's like, are you trying to say that she's like, is she like Rey in another life?
In another lifetime kind of thing, in a parallel universe, in a multiverse?
Since that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, maybe her past life that she was Rey, which would not make any sense.
These multiverses are really going to get into everybody's head big time. That's one thing I do know. Going backwards and forwards through time is going to confuse us. But I'm still sticking in the 70s because I love the 70s. Go a little bit deeper into it.
Did you catch the TV show reference that they were watching on the ship?
No, that was where I was going to bring that up for you now. Yes. You said John Travolta. What one was it, sorry?
It was the show Welcome Back Kotter, which
Kotter.
was one of John Travolta's big breaks. And it's funny, Welcome Back Kotter is about kind of a group of misfits in an inner city school, which the group of the Legends of Tomorrow are a little group of misfits. So I feel like it's a little reflection, little kind of fun little...
Guys, I'm going to create a little competition. I want to see who can out Easter egg my man John right here. Because I think I got Devon on the Flash as my number one Flash fan, and now I've got my number one Easter egg man. I've got a feeling none of you guys have got much of a chance, but let us know.
I think someone's out there, and I feel like there's someone really kick-ass that can, and I would love to bring them on the show.
Yeah, we're gonna have an Easter egg off.
Easter egg off.
We're gonna have an Easter egg off
Easter
with
egg
John
off.
and somebody out there right now. Guys, always real quick, don't forget to subscribe to theStream.tv, hitting the button down in the comment section below, and follow us all over Twitter, all over Facebook, so that we can build our community for these new superhero shows. One question I wanted to ask you, John. Obviously, with Dr. Broadman being quite a pivotal character because he was an expert on Vandal Savage. He knew everything there was to know about Vandal Savage, and he dies. Do you think, I mean, obviously with him being alive, it would have been a huge help.
Absolutely.
So do you think there's anyone who's going to kind of take his place in becoming the expert on Vandal Savage? Anyone who's going to be that mastermind behind him?
I think someone along the line, since we're dealing so much with time travel, you know, we've got Kronos that came back, and I think that was a really cool twist because it looked like it was maybe a Vandal Savage sort of thing. But
that's what we thought in the beginning until we find out at the end, wasn't it?
So that was a very cool thing. I feel like somebody will travel back. I mean, hopefully maybe Booster Gold. Booster Gold is another person part of the Rip Hunter universe.
Another speedster.
Yes. And then, you know, what's cool about that is Booster Gold was in Smallville, and then he actually steals the time machine to go back. Glenn Winter, I really hope this is what you're doing. You're trying to bring Smallville back. Maybe bring back Tom Welling or something. Cause
would you like to see Tom Welling in it?
I think Tom Welling would be great.
You think he'll come to You think he'll come to Legends?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd like to see.
The guy is a legend.
The guy is the legend.
The guy is a legend today. He's not a legend of tomorrow. He's a legend of today.
And past. Oh, remember we? Oh God, John, tell him about that clip that you showed me that absolutely killed me. The soon, today. Tomorrow?
We're talking about we're in now. She's like, when did this happen? It's like now, because we just passed then. When did we pass then? Just now. And so he wants to know when will then be now, which will be
Tell me
soon.
that didn't just confuse the hell out of you.
Spaceballs?
I had to watch this
Anybody?
clip. Spaceballs, that was
Spaceballs.
it. Guys, anyone a Spaceballs fan? Unfortunately, I wasn't, but now after he showed me that clip, I'm 100% going home to watch that.
And I hope that, you know, somewhere down the season they go to the 80s and watch Spaceballs on the ship and, you know, do that whole thing.
And they bring it into it at some point and they just have that one little skit. Guys, we're going to throw it into the immediate action that we saw. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to throw a little bit of a negative out there. I wanted to see a little bit more action for our first. I wanted a real punch when it came to the fight. Obviously, we saw the beginning, and then we saw that small scene when they were on the rooftop and Rip Hunter was trying to explain what the world is going to look like in 150 years. Use that hologram that pretty much showed them what it was going to look like. And then we had that one fight with Kronos. I was hoping for a little bit more. I wanted a little bit more action in this one. And of course, we did have the fight back in the 70s, which was
pretty cool.
Which was great between Sarah, Mick, and Captain Cold. favorite characters so far?
You know what? I love girl power, so I'm gonna go with Sarah Lance.
Yeah?
Any kind of kick-ass female is cool in my book.
And
so I'm
she's
all
a
about that.
kick-ass female
She
because
is.
she took out, that was a big old guy.
She does not mess around, and she did it without even breaking a sweat. And
When he said, honey, do you want to accompany me out to the
I was like, you're in
parking
trouble,
lot?
buddy. You're in trouble.
Well, I was a little bit confused. I was like, for something sexual out in the car parking lot?
No, obviously he wanted to sell her, copies of his LP album, because he's like a pop star artist or something. I don't know.
But then she said, I don't know about your lady friend over there. And then she was mentioning like, oh, maybe I'd rather dance with your lady friend
Well,
instead.
remember she had that little mischievous affair with Ra's al Ghul's daughter,
that's
so
true,
don't forget that. So Sarah
maybe she
Lance,
swings both ways. Bats for both teams.
Hey,
Works for a guy, doesn't it? But still, Kronos. How did you feel about Kronos? I thought, but the Boba Fett reference. As soon as Captain Cole gets out of the car, he goes, "We've been away for 5 minutes, and you guys managed to pick a fight with Boba Fett." How many more Star Wars references do they need in this pilot?
apparently that was it, because usually in storytelling it happens in threes, and we had three.
Three is the magic word?
Three
That
is the magic number, so
Word.
it's the magic word too, because THREE, so that could totally be a magic word. Kronos, that was a really cool twist, because like we were saying earlier, I thought that was Vandal Savage sending him back to get Rip Hunter, but as it turns out, Rip Hunter went against orders to go back in time. And
How did you? What a reveal!
Yeah.
I really wasn't expecting that. I thought, obviously, when he was standing in the time capsule and preaching to everyone about how he needs to go back in time and save Vandal Savage, but why don't the time capsule care about Vandal Savage? That was my point, because you'd have thought the time capsule would have gone, okay, Vandal Savage is clearly a bad guy. He's moving towards world domination. He's moving towards world destruction. Rip Hunter, take the WR, go end this dude. But no, clearly they didn't allow him, so he had to. What was the word he used? I can't remember what the word was he used, but he had to steal the Wave Rider in order to go back. And of course, he lied to the team. And with Rip Hunter lying to the team initially, I thought it was really going to be an ending there. Because obviously, once you lie, it's very hard to gain that trust back. But again, we saw the team kind of talk to each other again at the end of the episode. And that wrap-up was what I really liked. We had the first scene when they were pretty much, they were really hesitant towards it, whereas Atom actually was very go towards because all his inventions and his money meant nothing in 150 years, but if he could save the world, that is what it meant to him. But then towards the end of the episode, his tune kind of changed, didn't it? When they were sat there fixing their weapons and stuff, they all seemed a little bit of opposite to themselves.
yeah, absolutely, and that's really the cool, in storytelling we call it reflection characters. So as they're talking through their opposites, and what let's backtrack a little bit when he's talking to Oliver. The fact that Oliver Queen's the voice of reason, because remember where he started in Arrow season 1.
He definitely wasn't.
He was
ever.
not a voice of any kind of reason.
He still isn't to a point. Even
Still
trying to
isn't.
run for mayor, he's still not much of a voice of reason.
But I think that's really cool that they took parts of their opposites and realized, I need to be a little more like you, you need to be a little more like me, and we just kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah.
With Professor and Jax. Jax is talking about, you ever been I like being part of a team. Professor's like, yeah, me too.
Because of his football backing. And whilst we're on there, if anybody caught the DC Legends of Tomorrow special that happened after The Flash on Tuesday, which of course followed DC Justice League. Sorry, I know my microphone's touched on there.
I don't have a DC shirt on.
Yeah, I was going to bring one in for him, but I was hoping he would have already had one. But guys, if you saw that DC Legends of Tomorrow special, you would have realised that they really dove in, is the word I'm looking for, dove into the characters. And to be honest, in this show right now, I was just talking to one of our camera guys outside. That really is a pivotal point of the Legends of Tomorrow. Every single character, in my opinion, is absolutely it is perfect, and not only the character but the actor as well. They all fill their boots. Like they were saying, Jax Jefferson, big football star, high school football star, and he's all about the teamwork. Martin Stein is all about chasing his passion for knowledge and not having enough adventures left, which touches my heart. Victor Garber, dude, you touch my heart every time. You're absolutely incredible. But the one point I want to move on with is, where was I talking? Adam's persistence. Sorry, Adam becoming a pessimist to a point, and then turning back things around. How are we going to move forward now from here? Because like you said, this is going to be a part 1 of part 2.
Yeah.
So where do we think we're going to lead into with part 2?
I think we're going to be very heavy into the action. So I think all the action that you wanted in this episode, we're going to get in part 2.
In part 2.
Because we're really building up. We got to know these characters, because also as a storyteller, you have to bridge a gap between people who have been watching Arrow and Flash and people who haven't. And I feel like they did a great job in terms of, there's a little bit of meta humor, a little bit of meta knowledge, but also if you've never seen any of these shows and know nothing about DC, it's very informative, and it makes you want to watch more. I mean, I'm definitely hooked.
I can't wait to come back, and the reason I can't wait to come back is because that last little buzzer that we caught, Vandal Savage, and I thought it was an H-bomb. I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar with my bombs and stuff, so if any of you guys know, please let us know. Live, hit us up on YouTube, hit us up on Twitter. We'll answer it right now just so that we know. But you mentioned it was a Cold War bomb, possibly.
Because he says, you know, it's like he mentions like every war,
yeah.
And he's been around for all of them. I feel like this is the start of the Cold War, and you know, because they're basically saying that Vandal Savage has been there since the days of Hitler and
even
Genghis
before that
Khan,
still,
you know,
yeah,
and
exactly.
stuff like that. So he's kind of the secret, almost driving force between these wars and these empires. I think this is what's upon us. So there's a lot more at stake.
Guys, there's so much more at stake. I can't wait to delve into these characters even more and really start peeling across their layers. But first of all, just going to throw it to a quick commercial break. Well, not real commercial break, but a commercial break for theStream.tv. So guys, feel free to start hitting us up on Twitter. We're going to come back with a bunch of questions, bunch of live YouTube shout-outs. Guys, again, don't forget to subscribe to us, and we'll see you in a few. See you tomorrow, but not tomorrow.
No, now. As in now. And now, are we up?
then-
In 5.
Just in case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live. In case you missed it live.
How did you not figure that out?
We had a crazy vampire threesome.
And you can't unsee that. That's burned into my brain now.
I was like, how did you get here? No. Look at me, I'm dancing.
You know why we saying yes. You know why we saying yes.
He is quite something.
We're like, inseparable.
She was shadier than Sunglass Hut with Ray-Bans on sale, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it wasn't. So come on.
You just went to a totally different direction on that.
When a billionaire goes broke, it means he's got like $4 million.
Hold the phone.
Hold on.
Bro.
I found her to be deliciously out of control.
Oh man, looking forward to this fight.
Ooh, they about to get together. Watch, it's about to go down.
Somebody better take some pictures of this.
I just slapped the crap out of Nick.
And he just You know, you can't count anything out.
Look at you.
It's been another awesome night at theStream.tv, guys.
awesome.
Thank you for joining us, you guys.
Yes.
We love you.
Oh, we're not.
Oh, we're doing it. Guys, first things first. How awesome was that building screen right at the beginning of this show? The guys who have edited that behind this for us, well job, guys.
Pretty good.
job. Right, so we're going to go give a quick shout out, and guys, we're going to apologise to Arnold real quick. The thing that we tried to do with Skype, that's what we want to try and do. We want to try and have different guests every week so that we can start getting every different opinion. For starters, from all across, well, we've tried to go across the country with Arnold being over in over on the East Coast. And eventually, guys, we like to try and go across the world and get people Skyping in who else are watching the show and following with us and talking to us about it. So, Arnold, we apologise.
Apologise?
We are apologetic guys. We apologise. And again, don't forget to go and subscribe to the group that he is an admin on. There it is right on the screen. DC Legends of Tomorrow. Discussing. I'm gonna sort out my speaking abilities, guys.
American English is hard,
apologise.
Jack. I know.
Well, sometimes, believe it or not, I
is.
fall into the American accent sometimes, and I don't mean to, but obviously being here 3 years now, it just slips in and out every now and then. Guys, first things first as well, I kind of want to say a quick shout out to the costume designers and the set designers and everyone on the DC Legends of Tomorrow, because I completely forgot to mention this, but when they went back to the 70s, hearing the music playing in the background, watching them walk through the streets, I wish I could have been alive in the 70s and 80s. I wish I could have been about 20 when I was about in 75 and then lived through that till like 89.
I feel like
and
you would
that would
fit
have
right
been
in.
perfect. Who, me?
You would have fit right in.
Even if I wouldn't have fit,
sure.
well, that's the thing about the 80s. You didn't fit in unless you stood out, weren't it? It was that kind of thing. Right, guys, well, first things first, let's go live with a few Twitter questions, so if we can get them up. First things first, you ready for this? At 17, Mustang Jazzy.
Mustang Jazzy. That's my singing voice.
And Jon Lee Brody and Jack Hind. If you could be in a movie, who would you want your female love interest to be? I know. So, John, I'm going to throw this over to you. This has been me. I know my answer. So go.
Betty White, hands down. I mean, come on. Who else would it be?
1950s Betty White or 2016 Betty White?
Anytime Betty
Hell,
White.
you'd want to take the time travel the whole way back and just visit every decade of
Betty White now, Betty White Golden Girls. I mean,
any Betty White will do for you?
Any Betty White or Linda Carter of any era. Totally.
Charlize Theron would be my lady.
Tina Fey also. I have a...
Oh, you're a comedic kind of guy,
Yeah,
aren't you?
you know, I like the funny girls, you know.
Well, you know what it was with me? I'm not going to lie. If anyone's a Hancock fan, Charlize Theron in that, I think she killed it for me. And that when Charlize Theron gets serious,
shit gets real.
Shit gets real. On to question number 2. Meg Lou 75.
Hi, Meg Lou.
Hi, Meg Lou. At Jon Lee Brody, at Jack Hind, at theStream.tv. Hashtag Ask Brody, hashtag Ask Jack. I love that. Guys, you're welcome to use that, but you
trending.
don't have to.
Totally trending.
But do remember, hashtag LOTAS. That will be your hashtag for our questions. If you were a time-traveling superhero, what would you travel through time to change?
Spider-Man 3. I would just go back and be like, stop. Just stop.
I'm going to go politically correct and say like World War II, probably. Like, I don't know. I don't agree with going back and changing time because, of course, it does have huge effects to what's happened to us now. So I'm going to go politically in the middle and say we shouldn't go back in time because everything now has happened for a reason.
Doc Brown could have used a guy like you in 1985.
I would have been Doc Brown's best friend and worst enemy. Don't worry about that. Guys, moving on. Thank you, Meg Lou, for that question.
Thank you, Meg
We
Lou.
appreciate it, honey. Oh, we're back to 17 Mustang Jazzy. Good, you're killing
Mustang
it with the questions.
Jazzy.
You're killing it with the questions. Guys, you have the chance to get on this. Don't be afraid to tweet into us. Since it's superhero season and it's superhero year, dude, like, and I feel like it's going to be superhero year for at least for next year.
Century.
Superhero century. Since it's superhero season, favorite superhero growing up, Mustang Jazzy's was Catwoman. Yeah, I wonder why, Mustang Jazzy. I wonder why, my friend. You love a woman in black leather? I'm sure you're a huge fan of Sarah and Laurel Lance. Favorite superhero growing up for me was Superman.
Yeah.
Has been, always will be. I will die to play that character. I will give my left arm, my left leg, my left testicle to play Superman. You don't even know.
Or your middle testicle.
Or my middle testicle.
See, I got it. I totally got it.
You actually did get me, didn't
I see, you said
it. Go. Who's your favorite superhero?
I'm going with Superman as well. So since we're both, our favorite superheroes are Superman, what's your favorite? Are you a Christopher Reeve? Are you a George Reeves? Brandon Routh? Or Henry Cavill?
I'm going to have to Henry Cavill.
I got you.
Why?
Because he's British.
Because he's a British man. And you want to know what it was for me? He completes the character of Superman because he doesn't seem as human as what the rest of them kind of felt like to me. Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh, they played great Superman, they played great Men of Steel, but they didn't have that alien characteristic to them, in my opinion. You guys may disagree, I'm not sure, but that is what it is. And plus the Man of Steel films, I'm a huge fan of Michael Shannon, so I really enjoyed him playing General Zod? Yeah, that was his name, General Zod. But how about yourself? Why Superman?
I can get behind that.
Who's your favorite?
Well, I'd say Christopher Reeve because that was the first movie
original.
I ever saw. In all fairness, that was the time. The 1978 Superman was very campy because that was the time we were in. They weren't really going dark with comic book movies. Christopher Reeve was just the actor's actor sort of thing. And I always loved Superman because here's a guy who's virtually indestructible, has every power, but he uses it for good. And I think that's the thing we need to key in on. He's a very super being.
He's iconic. He's a god.
Yeah, but he
Like
has
he
very
really is
human
God.
emotions. And that's really his weakness. Not really kryptonite, but his weakness is that he has the human emotions and he cares.
Who?
Superman.
Superman, yeah.
And that's
he's,
what's really interesting to me.
Oh, what was it? He's the like you say, he's the soft voice to it all. Like you said, and his emotions are one of his biggest weaknesses.
He's the Boy Scout.
He's the Boy Scout, and that could, like you say, is his downpour, but at the same time, is his good thing.
What makes him super. And
what
I
makes
also
him
love the John Williams score. The dun, 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 dun. Come on, goosebumps every single time.
When you hear it, it just the hairs on the back of your neck.
No, you just want to rip
a
shirt, which I have done before, which was.
And he didn't have a Superman shirt under it. It was just bare
no,
chest.
It's nothing. It was just
bare chest.
Yeah, it was in public, and people frown upon that thing apparently here. So it's
Guys, I think I have one more question. Yes, we do, and this is from D.E. I'm gonna go for it. D.E.A.A. Dramello. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Apologise, buddy, of course. Jon Lee Brody, Jack Hind, theStream.tv. What are your future plans we added this question as a little bit of a joke because our future plans are going to be back here every Thursday watching Legends of Tomorrow, and I hope that should be everybody else's future plans. I mean, if they're not,
or you
what
could,
are you doing?
you know, just because it says on my shirt, maybe just go to the sweatshop in Toluca Lake and take a really awesome spin class. I mean, seriously, sweatshop. That's sweatshop with 2 P's and an E and an S and an H. And
an O?
And an O.
There's definitely an O in there.
There's a couple O's in there.
You can't spell shop without S-H-O-P-P-E.
But seriously, Toluca Lake, the sweatshop, shout out to you guys. Best spin studio on all the Earths 1 through 52. Superman himself will be like, dude, this is legit.
Do you think, real quick, whilst we're on there, I've got a couple YouTube questions that I'm going to shout out in a quick second as well. Do you think we're going to have a mixture of Flash and Arrow with the multiverse in Flash Arrow and all 52 Earths? Yeah, all new 52 Earths. Do you think they're going to come involved with this?
I believe so because Rip Hunter also was in the storyline of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
There we go.
I think we're going to touch on that. I missed a couple Easter eggs. Sorry to backtrack, but
We ain't going nowhere until you finish your Easter eggs.
Two more. On one of the doors on the Wave Rider, there's the number 52. That's a nod to the new 52 storyline of DC. Also, when they're in the cargo bay and they're trying to contemplate what do we do. On the back, there's B7. Now, I may be looking way too much into this. This is what I do, but B7 is the number of a trading card for the Black Canary Blonde Bombshell. You can totally look it up. It's a real thing. So B7, Blonde Bombshell, Black Canary. I'm pretty sure that was an Easter egg. If not, then you're welcome, DC.
Right, let's go to a couple quick YouTube shout-outs before we have to call it a night. Apologies, guys. My voice is terrible. Joshua Berry. I like this one. If you could be one of the heroes on the show, which would you be? Guys, remember, we're asking these questions not only between the two of us, but we're letting them out to you guys as well. So we want to know your answers as well as ours, all on the YouTube comments below, so that we can go back after the show, chat with you all, and talk about stuff that we may have missed on this. That's what we're here for. We've only got about half an hour, and we could be sat here for hours talking about this show if we wanted to. So, John, if you could be one of the superheroes on this show, who would you be?
On Legends of Tomorrow,
Yes, sir, on Legends of Tomorrow.
I like the Atom. You know.
Oh, really?
He's got a lot going on, and I like him from a story perspective because this is a guy who is presumed dead, and when he comes back, it's like people are like, okay, they didn't really miss him, and you got to struggle with that. But the guy's like Iron Man, he's like a Tony Stark.
Not as cocky and philanthropist as him.
But the fact that if I could just build a machine and just shrink myself down. I mean, I don't know why I would, but the fact that you could is pretty cool. So,
I think my one would have to be Captain Cold. Captain Cold from The Flash has always been my guy. I don't know what it is, Wentworth Miller. I'm a huge fan of Wentworth Miller. I think he's an absolutely incredible actor. And quick shout out to him and Dominic Purcell. What's it called? Prison Break has been renewed for season 5.
And I do love that he's just always brooding. He's like, yeah, I'm Captain Cold. And I get to talk like this.
And he's not that. He's not. It's because he's smart and he knows that whatever he's about to say, he already knows the answer to. And that was my favourite part. My favourite part about this episode, actually, was when Heatwave said, why should we have to go back in time? We don't want to do that, blah, 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 blah. This is not for us. We're villains. We're bad guys. And then what does Captain Cold do? Takes the clever route, as always, and goes, yes, but we're going to go back and steal the Mona Lisa off of his easel. We're going to go back and steal the crown jewels off Queen Elizabeth. Like, he's got it going on, and he has the answer to absolutely everything.
And did anyone else notice that Heatwave kind of sounds like the bad guy from Inspector Gadget? He's just like,
Which one?
Love this era.
Oh, the Claw?
Yeah,
it's Mr. Claw on Inspector Gadget.
Did anyone else catch that?
Ages. Guys, that's what we're going to have to call it for. We're going to have to call it a night.
That's all we get? That's all we get?
That's all they get. Not all we get. That's all they get. I'm just playing with you all, guys. Guys, thank you for joining us here. We couldn't appreciate it more. We're so happy we get to be here talking about these incredible, incredible superheroes and characters. And I want to give a quick shout out to David Rappaport casting because obviously across these 3 shows, Flash, Arrow, sorry, I'm going to throw Supergirl in there now as well. Across Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and now DC Legends of Tomorrow. Guys, what a week we have as comic book nerds.
As we would
this
say,
is what we have all week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What are we going to get for Friday?
And what do we say to that? We go, bruh.
Bruh.
Bruh. Somebody memed this today.
Bruh. Guys, we have to say goodnight. Thank you all for joining us. Wherever you are in the world, no matter how late, how early it is, we appreciate you so much.
And we'll see you at the sweatshop.
And we're going to see you all at the sweatshop. Guys, have a good evening. From John, everyone at theStream.tv, and myself, thank you. And have a good evening.
And 5, 3, we're out in 2, and 0.